Anushka Wani, digital editor at EM and END magazine, and today we have with us Mr. Shailendra Goswami, who is a chairman and managing director for Pushkaraj Industries. Hello, sir. We are glad to have you on this podcast with us. I would like to know your insights about the industry, as we begin with the interview. So before that, can you just give us a quick glimpse and insights into industry and Industry 4.0?
Yes. Coming to the Industry 4.0, let me first of all introduce myself. I have been an engineer and a postgraduate in management from IIM Bangalore, and I've spent 15 years in corporate world manufacturing diesel engines, and I was head of the business unit when I left. And for the last 32 years, I am in my own businesses, where I have been catering to diesel engine industry, automotive industry, oil and gas, and several other sectors where we have several OEM customers for our franchise products, for our manufactured products, and the kind of consulting that I do it in an advisory capacity for various industries, including manufacturing industry. Now, we were conventionally manufacturers where we were using all kinds of mechanical or mechanized processes. And 2020, when we were hit by pandemic, at that time, most of the people there realized after their labor, skilled, semi-skilled labor, they just disappeared because of the COVID era. Everyone knows the problems, everyone wanted to be in their own places, and naturally the manufacturing sector suffered a lot because we were totally dependent on labor-oriented processes. And in those 2.5 years, people realized that we need to work out something which would certainly give them a level of survival at least. If we really look at it, manufacturing constitutes almost 15% to our GDP, which now with our new government, we are aiming to reach that 25% in the GDP. And it means a lot. 25% in GDP means a lot. That means our production levels have to go up. If our production levels have to go up, then naturally the productivity norms have got to be defined by processes, and this is where migrating it to Industry 4.0 comes into picture. What is Industry 4.0? Industry 4.0 is nothing but, we call it in jargon, a cyber-physical process of manufacturing in which machines talk to machines by using IT platforms like AI, IoTs and things like that. And most of the work is programmed to give you a consistent production, a reliable production, a cost-effective production, and as well as scalability. When we are talking about this last element of scalability, you would wonder why we are talking about scalability now. Because the pandemic also changed the total geopolitical scenario, where the China plus one strategy emerged. And in China plus one strategy, the entire world wanted a substitute or a replacement to the supplies coming from China, and that is where India figured in. Of course, there are several other countries in the race, but India being such a big absorbent of technology and the skilled manpower which is available, and the way India is going, which is the fastest economy in the world, presently fifth, would like to get into the first three. We have all the necessary inputs to become leaders as far as manufacturing is concerned globally. And that is where, when you become a global hub for manufacturing, the way China or Taiwan were, naturally the scale or economies of scale have to go up. And when you are thinking about that, you need to really talk about all these automation, all these Industry 4s, and now people have been talking about Industry 5 also, in which if you really look at it from generation first, where the Industrial Revolution took place in 1800, 1900, we had generation 2, 2000 we had generation 3, and 2020, within 20 years we went to generation 4. So human interference right from generation 1 to 4 was being reduced, and that is where the problems started coming in. That ultimately the technology is designed for us. It is not designed for replacing us, and which is where again the human element has come into being, and that is what is called as Industry 5.0. Because human mind is creative, it is intuitive, and it can take decisions on real-time basis, and that is where that strength cannot be neglected. Therefore, these processes have come into being, and people are really looking at following these processes. And I think that would be another industrial revolution,
Yes.
which is yet to come.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely, yes. Also, sir, since you mentioned about COVID and the pandemic and how the industries are coping up with the challenges that they faced during that period, so it actually got me to thinking that how did Pushkaraj manage, to get out of the challenging phase?
Pushkaraj has been into the field of solving problems. So whether COVID or without COVID, we were in business of solving problems right from its inception in 1992. So practically last 32 years, I have been busy adding values and solving problems. Now the problems could be categorized in terms of cost, in terms of delivery, in terms of quality, in terms of alternate sourcing, or in terms of totally getting entirely a different technology. And therefore, when COVID came in, we were totally aware of how to handle the situations, and remotely all these things could be possible, because those were the times when the industry were trying to introspect, then trying to find out the flaws and trying to improve upon them, trying to take out the projects which were kept on shelf or on the bench, and they did not have time to look at them for improvements, and all those papers came on the table. The drawing boards were busy. People were trying to improve on their existing status as far as technology was concerned. Upgradation took place, and that is where Pushkaraj was in that kind of a business as it is, of giving support. For example, you take emissions. For emissions of Euro 4 or Bharat Stage 4, we were working, when it came in, we were working 4 or 5 years ahead of the time. So when emission 4 was, Bharat Stage 4 was announced, at that time we were totally ready with the packages of technologies coming from all over the world. And those technologies were brought into India either directly or through a joint venture partner or through somewhere, and therefore the automotive industry could gear up. We have been always in touch with the advanced engineering departments of companies, where we have been discussing what would happen 5 years hence, what would happen 10 years hence. That is where Pushkaraj has a vertical called technology forecasting, in which we talk about emissions, we talk about fuels, we talk about lightweighting, we talk about fuel consumption, and we talk about mobility. These are the 5 agenda points, and those points we have been thinking constantly. And I would say that we imagine what would be a car like, what would be a motorcycle like 10 years hence. And these are all intellectual contributions, which we keep doing it. You can say it is a desk research. We keep doing it, sitting in our offices, and then we make that available to the manufacturer, so that when the time comes, they are totally aware as to what technologies are going to come. And these kind of projects we keep working with OEMs hand in hand, and therefore Pushkaraj never had that kind of a hurdle, because as I said, we have a forecasting wing as far as technology is concerned. So we are thinking 10 years hence. So we had one pandemic, there could be another one.
Absolutely.
So we know exactly what is going to happen 4 to 5 years from now.
Yes.
And we have been working in those technologies. Independently, if you really ask what we have done it on emissions, we have done on Euro 4, we worked out Euro 6, the packages or the technologies are there. On gas, we worked out on pure gas, we worked on dual fuel. On electrics, we have done it for 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers. And for trucks, right now we are working on hydrogen concept also.
Oh, that is wonderful to hear, and seeing how well Pushkaraj has been doing for throughout the years. Could you also give us a few insights on the automotive industry in India? So, since the latest news that came in where India surpassed Japan in terms of electric vehicles. So, can you talk something about the future of electric mobility in
Yes. Conventionally, if you really look at it, we may have done a lot of research, but on ground reality is that two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and four-wheelers, which is passenger, they will necessarily be electric. But when it comes to commercial vehicles, it will most probably tilt, the balance will tilt towards hydrogen. That is what most of the people are saying because of the requirements of the duty and the kind of load, the payload and other things we have to take into consideration. But if you really look at these 2, 3 and 4-wheeler, we have done exceedingly well. The number of vehicles which we are producing, I don't have the statistics in front of me, those could be available from anywhere. But then certainly I think our products are matured as far as two-wheelers are concerned, three-wheelers are concerned, and even four-wheelers. Our indigenous manufacturing facilities of our indigenous manufacturers are way ahead.
Yes.
The biggest example is Tata's,
Yeah.
who have done one of the best cars as far as electric vehicle is concerned. And yes, we can say that electrical mobility is going to be having a future, but we cannot discard IC engines because they will have to coexist. And there would be several such applications where IC engines will be required to work out. And today on electric vehicles, the kind of constraints that we have it on distribution, on batteries, and availability of charging stations is going to take us a while before we say that yes, we are 100% equipped to handle electric vehicles. Whereas IC engines has matured long back, and we have attained up to Euro 5, Euro 6 emission norms with IC engines also. Then why discard the technologies which we have worked for last 30, 40 years? And they are very cost effective also. So there would be a learning curve as far as electric vehicle is concerned for establishment of markets. But then IC engines is already matured and they are giving what the customers would like to have. Ultimately, the game is about what customers want and at what price and at what warranty levels and what availability levels, etc. etc.
Yes, since you have already covered some of the few key trends in the industry, can you also highlight some of the government policies that are supporting the automotive industry?
Yes, the government has been very, very proactive. Government does understand the infrastructure that has been created for the automotive industry, or for that matter, diesel engine and automotive, I will put it together. Because they come, when you talk about automotive, there is a diesel engine or a petrol engine in that. So, the government has been very, very proactive. They do understand the kind of automotive componentry that is being produced in India. The number of vendors who are, or the tier 1 suppliers or tier 2 suppliers, there are plenty in India. Exact numbers I don't want to get into, but then if we convert the entire IC engines to EV, almost more than 50 to 60% of these vendors will have no contribution in the electric vehicle, and that would create a social problem. And as I have been saying it, that both these technologies will coexist, and therefore the entire ecosystem also will remain together, and they will support the customer requirements as they would be required to do. And as we always say, that we do not have to focus only on these two sectors. There is a third one which is emerging also, that we have produced gas, we produce our indigenous oils and gas. Naturally, pure gas engines and dual fuel engines are also being looked at as far as prime movership is concerned or industrial application is concerned. So automotive, when you are talking, an engine manufacturer caters to automotive, yes, maybe number of engines he produces for automotive could be more, but then there are other applications like industrial applications in which you have gensets, you have construction machinery, you have off-highway vehicles where the numbers may be lower, but then those are required to be run. So therefore, these IC engines and EVs, once again I am telling you, they will have to coexist.
Absolutely. So can you also elaborate on the strategies that have allowed your company basically to cater to various sectors?
These strategies, meaning if you really look at the profile of Pushkaraj's group of companies, we are into practically every branch of engineering, be it metallurgy, mechanical, electrical, electronics, telecommunication, and also information technology. And not only in marketing, but then we also do manufacturing. In manufacturing, the product, rather the emphasis has been shifting from products to services and product to systems. And that is where a customer would like to have a single point responsibility with a vendor who can provide them an entire system. And that is where Pushkaraj has emerged, keeping in line with the thinking of the industry or the customers, that we do not supply only products, we supply an entire system around that product. So it could be a diesel engine safety system, it could be a vibration monitoring system, or it could be a pressurizing cooling system, or it could be a gas engine system, or it could be an industrial heating system. So the sectors which could utilize all these systems are basically diesel engines, automotive, oil and gas, cement, steel, all the basic sectors of the industry which are present. And naturally, the agenda for Pushkaraj is being driven by the customers. So, last 32 years, we have been driven by the customers to do what we are doing today. Therefore, our focus has been customer satisfaction.
Yes.
Whatever customer desires, the shopping list comes from the customer and then we gear it up. Of course, we know exactly as to what kind of a shopping list that could come as with respect to time, and that is where we forecast the requirements and then keep our preparations in order.
Yeah. Right. So since you are the man behind this kingdom of Pushkaraj, and in your experience, you have seen tremendous changes in the industries. Can you share some parts of your experience with us?
Actually, it will be an understatement if I say that I would be, I am the only person behind this. I have my entire family members, my son, my daughters, son-in-laws, all of them are taking care of the requirements in the present generation also. And maybe I just triggered it, but the activity is being, you can say, shared by the entire family members, the family at home, the ladies at home, who are been very, very supportive. And that is how we could discharge our responsibilities. And certainly, I don't think there is going to be a hurdle that we would encompass, because last 32 years we have been constantly working, and then the customers have been supporting us, and we have come out with flying colors as far as exercises are concerned. There are n number of exercises I can narrate, but then the trend is that the customers will always go to somebody who keeps performing, and we believe in performing.
Right. Any particular milestone that you would like to share with us?
Well, the milestone is to see my customer happy. That is the biggest milestone. As I have said, that our agenda is being driven by customers, and we always take it up on our platter, the requirements of customer, and that is the topmost priority. And when a customer gives us that kind of a certificate, which we have several such certificates coming from customers, including the largest public sector like Bharat Heavy Electricals, who have adjudged us one of the best vendors for them. So the priorities for us is our customers. I don't think it would be anything else, because we exist here because of our customers.
Absolutely. Yes. So, to come to the end of this, I would like to know your thoughts on the automotive industry, though you have shared with us, but can you shed some light on the future of automotive industry?
Well, the future of automotive industry is very bright, because if you really look at it, India has a population of 1.3, 1.4 billion people, and there are so many people who are yet to have their first two-wheeler, first three-wheeler, first four-wheeler. So the demand is going to be definitely there, and it is only that the composition of that demand, which will be deciding the future of industry or the trends of the industry as to who will buy electric vehicle, who will buy a gas engine driven vehicle, who will buy a hybrid vehicle, or who will buy an IC engine vehicle, or who will keep buying gasoline vehicles and things like that. And all these things will depend on the infrastructure, the distribution and things like that. The total topography, if you really look at it, we have a lot of villages where we are yet to have complete road infrastructure and things like that. And that is where there could be limitations. So depending on the availability of basic infrastructure, the demands will come, and those demands will have to be catered to by the manufacturers. That is as simple as that. So the future is bright.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful insights with us and your time with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.